And good morning, everybody. It is Claudia Rickard and featuring Lisa Menees. Now, Lisa, I met you. You're one of the first people I met, actually. And there was only you and I in the room waiting for everybody else to arrive, our Women in Networking group. And you do something that is amazing. You are an organizer, and you are a very special, unique organizer, because you actually properly give people systems that they can then continue to use themselves. And that is what I love about you. So please, everybody, this is Lisa Menees, and I know today she's going to share with us some amazing tips. But tell us, how did you get into becoming an organizer?
I've always been a naturally organized person. And when we moved here, I was licensed to teach in another state. I didn't want to try to get licensed in another one. And so it was kind of a, what do I want to do now when I grow up kind of moment. And I stumbled upon a webinar on how to run an organizing business. And I thought, well, I'll give it a try. And if it works, it does. And if it doesn't, I'm not out too much money and it's not the end of the world. But that was 5 years ago now. So there's definitely a need for it in the area, and it's very rewarding to help people and really get them over the mental blocks of clutter and get them out from under all the clutter that's been just overwhelming them and holding them back and causing them stress and anxiety. So it's just been very rewarding change.
And it's so true, because it really does. It does clutters your mind, because when you see mess everywhere, then it can create that overwhelm. And when people are trying to let go of stuff that they've had for years and years,
Yeah.
the emotional attachment. I mean, I know that's what I do with people as well, but not decluttering their houses. It's the stuff, the baggage
In
they
mind,
have.
yeah.
However, so I can only imagine that it's like, oh, but those letters were my love letters from my first boyfriend, or those were my, those were very special to my long lost I don't know, uncle, and they've been in the family for years, and or whatever it is, board games that remind you of your children when they were little. It's really hard. It is
It
really
is really hard. It's very hard, harder for some than others, but we all need a little bit of sentimentality in our lives, and we all have certain things in our home that, just really have a special meaning to us that other people would look at and think, well, that's just nothing. It's just junk or whatever. And that's great. It's wonderful to have those things, and it brings back some happy feelings and memories, as I'm sure you talk about with your clients and everything. But at some point, the sentimentality can take over and really just get in the way of your everyday living in your house. And if it's gotten to the point where you and your family can't function in your house, there's not enough room to store the things that you do use on a daily, regular basis because of the stuff that's just sentimental. Now we need to talk about it, and it needs to become a negotiation about what's really important for us to keep and what do we need to let go of, so that our house can work for us and not against us, because that's how it should be.
Yeah, and especially when people are moving.
Yeah.
I know when I had to move from England to live over here. Oh, that was
Oh,
hard.
I
Oh
bet.
gosh. I mean, I'd kept all of the children's toys, all of the books, all of everything. The amount of things that I literally gave away pretty much, and furniture.
Yeah.
It was just like, and then I got here and I thought, oh my gosh, I should have brought it with me and sold it here. I would have made a lot more money on it. However, and there's some things I still, even this morning, I was like thinking, oh, why didn't I bring that? And I'm like going, let it go. Stop it. It's gone. It's like 5 years
Yeah.
ago. Just let it go. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, because it's just stuff. However, you're right. It's that psychological pull, and you help people go through that, and you do it in such a sensitive way, because I've read the testimonials, and I think that's wonderful. I really do.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's really difficult for a lot of people, but it's a lot of gentle what if questions. What if this was lost in a fire? Would you be devastated, or would you just be Oh man, that stinks, but okay, it's not the end of the world. If it's something you'd be truly devastated to have broken or stolen or lost in a fire, then those are the things that are really, really important to you. So it's just kind of coming back to all of that and coming up with different, creative strategies. Like, what if we take pictures of this? Or what if you keep one of this set, but not the entire collection? What if you pick out your favorite one and we hang on to that? There's, some compromising that goes on in there too, because I don't want to ever walk into somebody's house and tell them you have to get rid of this, and you have to get rid of this much stuff in order for this to work, because you need to love where you live. And where you live needs to really bring you peace. And it should be, someplace that you're happy to be in. And a lot of this is part of that. So it's really just getting down to the heart of what's really, really, really important to you, and what, was important to you 5, 10 years ago, but maybe not quite as important now. Because, things change. Things that we were sentimental about in high school, we're not sentimental about anymore. Or some of the things we were sentimental about in college or early 20s or whatever. Well, now you look back and that stuff isn't quite as, you know, as important, as huge as it was back then. So it's important to keep going through those things and kind of tweaking what you're really sentimental about, so that you're not just hanging on to something for the sake of hanging on to it.
Yeah, no, I agree totally. And what I love is, because you were a school teacher, I bet you're great at doing, if somebody they have a playroom, I bet you organize that really well.
I do love working in kids' spaces. I've done a lot of playrooms. I've done a lot of kids' bedrooms. And that is a lot of fun for me, especially to go back and look at all the picture books and things that they have. It's like, oh, I miss that a little bit about teaching. But, in that regard, yes, it is. I do organize kids' spaces, and it is important to do that. It's important to teach them early on how to do it, and to teach them a little bit about categories, because it's really easy for kids to just throw everything together. Like in one great big toy box, they've got all their toys. Well, then as soon as that happens, especially with all the little tiny ones, now you can't see them. It just looks like this big jumbled, overstimulating mess that when they look at it, they're like, there's nothing to do in here. There's nothing to play with. So, by putting like things together, like having all the doll stuff together, having all the Legos together, all the little kitchen food and those things together, it makes it so much less stimulating for kids. And but then it's just trying to find ways, okay, because they are kids and we do have to let them be kids. How are we going to set this up in a way that is real easy for kids to clean up who don't want to clean up? And if they do clean up, they want it to be super fast and quick because, mom's making them clean up a toy room or something like that. So how do we work with that, make it easy enough for them to do it so that it actually stays and the toy room isn't a hot mess again by the end of the week? So
Yeah. No, you'd be really proud of me. I did actually do that with my kids.
Good for you.
Yeah, I did. There was a box for Lego. There was a box for the marble thing. There was a box for this, a box for the army men, a box for, all the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs had one, the other animals had one. It was like, farm animals. It was all in different categories. So they'd play with one thing, and before they would have to tidy that up. But sometimes they didn't, or sometimes obviously I did, but it's like they actually did know, and it did mean that they could play, as you say, instead of like one jungle animal being in one box and another being in another, because then you can't play jungle animals or then because you've got a tank in here and an aeroplane in that one, and one under the bed, and one in the bath, and one in all over the place. So yeah, I agree. So I did do that.
Good for you. Good job. Pat yourself on the back.
So, and then the wardrobe, I know, because because you have all sorts of techniques and strategies and all sorts of things. They're all on your website. It's a brilliant website.
Thank you.
And it's like, and I color coded my wardrobe when I got here. I haven't done it into summer and winter and what have you, but it is color coded. And then it's like, it is quite interesting because you can see which colors I like.
Yeah.
I'm very red, orange,
lots of bright colors.
pink.
Yeah.
It's like, it's quite funny. There's no gray. There will be black, You know,
Yeah.
I'm like now, but it is quite funny. And I like that you do that. But give us some. What is something that people most need help with? What do you find?
As far as spaces go, closets, master closet, linen closets, pantries, anything like that, those are really easy to become just like, okay, just dump it in there, shut the door, I'll get to it later, I'll deal with it later. Or it's just very easy to get caught up in life, and before you know it, it's been 3 years before you've gone through your closet to clean out and figure out, do I even like this anymore? Does that fit anymore? Do I like the way that looks on me? And so on and so forth. And it's just a matter of, color coding is great, and I do recommend color coding, but there's different ways to organize your closet, and it's just a matter of knowing yourself really well and what you are willing to keep up with and what you're not willing to keep up with. For example, I hate folding clothes. So I'm going to hang as much as I can possibly hang in my closet. If I try to set my closet up where everything's folded, that system's going to fall apart on me pretty quick because I hate folding.
Okay.
And so color coding works for me, but if you're one of those people that when you're putting laundry away and you don't want to stop and put the red ones here and then the pink ones here and the black ones over here, if you don't want to do that, then that system's going to fall apart on you too. So it's just a matter of getting to know the client really well and talking them through the process and figuring out what are your parameters? What's your morning like? How rushed is it? And what are you willing to do when the laundry comes out of the dryer and all of this? So yeah, it's about finding the systems that are right for you and your family, because otherwise they're never going to stick. So
yeah, and that's it. It's about making it stick. And I know that's what you do, because you actually do ask those questions. You don't just go in and do it and tidy it and go bye. You actually get them involved as well.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of homes I go in and I'm like, I would never organize my home this way, but that's what you need. That's what's going to work for you. That's the flow you need for your family. Then that's great. There is no set system. There is no one size fits all to this. It really is just making it work with the habits and routines of your family, to make your life easier, to make it more efficient, to be able to find what you're looking for when you need to find it, to be able to put it away quickly and move on with your day. Because nobody wants to take a whole lot of time and
that's it. It's
clean up the clutter and do all that.
Yeah, time is precious. And again,
absolutely.
If first thing in the morning, if you can't find, where your bra is or whatever it is you're looking for, then that can cause frustration. If I know my daughter's room can be in a complete mess, and I don't go in there because I started doing this. And she'll start going, "Where are my shorts?" And well, it's like, well, it's like but who am I to say anything? I'm only a mere mother.
And a lot of times when I do work with kids, teens, I'm working with some teens right now, it is best sometimes if mom just gets out of the way, because if mom is standing there, then the child, the teen, whatever, they kind of want to dig their heels in, because now it's like mom's telling them what to do. But if I'm in there, we can talk through it. We can, work through whatever's going on. I can get to the heart of what do you really love to do and what do we need to have front and center and easily accessible for you, and then what needs to be put away, and do you wear shorts all the time? Well, then let's make the shorts, closer up, or let's put them in the top drawer or something like that so that you can get to them as often as you need to.
I think that's brilliant. A child or a teenager will always work better with you than the parent.
Yeah.
It's just, they just will, because
you've likely had, the fights and the arguments. Oh, get your room cleaned. I will. Going back and forth with that.
You've been there, of course, that's what happens. I think that's brilliant that you do that. And I just love it. And so what is your best tip that you can give anybody right now?
My best tip is to when you get it where you want it, you've got to set aside the time for the maintenance, because your house is supposed to be full of the things that you need, use, and love. And when you get all those things, where they belong, where they need to be, you know, you don't live in a museum. You're actually needing and using these items in your house, but it's also not real life too. As soon as you are done with this, it's going to get put away in the exact position, the exact place it belongs. So we have to set aside the time to reset everything and get everything back where it goes. Because if we don't, then the clutter just builds and builds and builds and builds. And now you're in this situation where you have to spend an entire weekend or hours on your Saturday or something like that doing this chore that nobody wants to do. And now you just get angry and resentful and bitter about it. But if you set aside the time to keep up with it, then it is really so much easier. It's so
Yeah.
much easier. And the
Like
more often you do
10
it, the less time it takes.
Yeah, 5 or 10 minutes in the evening. Just make
Yep.
sure everything's in its place, and then you can go to sleep, peace of mind. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then
Absolutely.
you say clear mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I seriously, it's a decluttered mind, and
They go hand in hand for
yeah,
sure. Cluttered house has a cluttered mind. Absolutely.
it's so true. It's so true. So yeah,
Mhm.
I absolutely love what you do, and it's just that you do it so well.
Well, thank you.
And
I appreciate that. And you work magic with your clients with what you do as well. So, and I can attest to that myself. So
I know I've even brought my little friend here. Do you want to see it? So
sure.
now Lisa is open. Well, you're on my YouTube channel as well. About
Mhm.
you held this, didn't you?
I did. I held that snake.
And what's that like for you? Seeing me with it?
It it doesn't bother me right now. Nope.
No.
Nope.
Excellent. Okay, so we did that a couple of weeks ago because you really, really did not. I mean, even the word
Yeah.
snake, you'd go like
Yeah.
that.
I had a very, very real deep fear of them. So yeah, I still don't want one as a pet. I still don't want to see one in person, but I know I used to just not even be able to handle looking at them in a nonfiction book. That used to kind of give me the heebie-jeebies even. So I can at least do that. I can pick up the rubber snakes in a child's bedroom now and
Yeah.
deal with that. And it doesn't bother me anymore.
I
So
know, because actually, I mean, my kids had loads of those like little wooden snakes.
yeah, the wooden one that's supposed to move like the
Yeah.
snake does. Yeah, I never did like that one either, but now he doesn't
And,
bother
and,
me
and
so
you'll
much.
be in kids' rooms doing those. There's bound to be
Yes.
snakes.
Yeah.
Plastic,
There
of
always is, especially in a boys' room. There's always a snake somewhere.
course there is. Well, this is one of my boys. Yeah. So
Yeah, I bet. I bet. Yeah.
so yeah, so it's useful actually, when you have something that prevents you from doing something that
Mhm.
you are now okay to just do it. So
Yeah.
that was cool.
Yeah.
So as long as it's not a real live one slithering around the
That's
house.
right. That's right. Yeah.
But that's not likely to happen.
Right.
We hope.
No, probably not. So
Anyway, thank you, and I'm going to have your website in the comments and things, so that if people want to get in touch with you, they can. I thoroughly recommend Lisa. She works wonders, she really is. And the business is called SOS with Lisa Menees. Have I got that right?
SOS by Lisa. Yep.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So anyway, everybody, have a wonderful weekend. And it's goodbye from me, Claudia Ricard. And it's goodbye from
Lisa with SOS by Lisa. Thank you so much for having me on, Claudia. This was fun.
All right. No worries. Take care, everybody. Have a good time.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.